Hi, my lovely sixth graders. Welcome back. We're going to talk about lesson 18 today. We are going to talk about averages, and I'm not sure if you've seen these before. There's multiple types of averages, but today we're going to talk about what's called the mean average. And what this means is, let's say you take my class and you get on one test, you get an 87%. And then on another test, you get 90%. And then you forgot to study, so you got a 62%. But then you did really good on the next one, you got a 97%, right? And maybe an 88% on the next one. Now, you've taken 5 tests in my class, and I would like to know the average of them. That means we're gonna take that information and find what about where you're at, right? We can use an average to predict maybe where you're gonna be on your next test based on how you've been doing in the class. The way we find that is we add up all of this information, okay? And then we divide by the number of numbers. Divide by the number of numbers. So 87 plus 90 plus 62 plus 97 plus 88. So we're gonna add all those together. We get 424. 424. You know what? I'm gonna make this a 9. This is what happens whenever I make my own problems, and make this a 5. And why did I do that? Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna take 5 numbers. So we're going to take 425 and divide it by 5. Divide it by 5. And that gives us 85. So your average test score in my class is 85%. That means on your next test, you're going to be probably close to 85. Now, granted, you could be 62 or 97, but you're going to be up there on that end of the spectrum. You're not going to be at like 30, right? Unless you absolutely didn't study, and then you'll throw your averages way off. But it's kind of a good way to be able to determine that information. Okay, so let's talk about some of these examples that are in the group, or in the book. I was reading group in the problem. So example number 1 on page 84 says, in 4 classrooms, there were 28 students, 27 students, 26 students, and 31 students, respectively. The word respectively in this context means in that order, okay? So classroom number 1 had 28, classroom number 2 had 27, classroom number 3 had 26, and classroom number 4 had 31. What is the average number of students in each classroom? Average number of students. So again, we're going to take 28 plus 27 plus 26 plus 31, and we are going to add up all of that information. When we do, we get 112 students, 112 students. But there are not 112 students in each classroom. No. We have to divide by the number of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we divide by 4, we get 28 students per classroom. So kids, you should be writing down on your in your notebook. You should be in the section labeled notes or videos, taking notes, right? And what I want you to do is average mean. We're not going to talk about the other kinds of averages yet, but you should get to know the word mean, right? This is the mean average. Add up all the numbers and divide by the number of numbers. All right, so make sure that that's in your notes so that you can reference that. Example number 2 says, what is the average of 3, 7, and 8? 3, 7, and 8. 3, 7, and 8. In my head, I think 3 and 7 is 10, 18. So we add those all up. 3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 18. Divide that by the number of numbers, 1, 2, 3, and we get 6. We get 6. Now, average is also really helpful for finding the numbers in between. So let's say I ask, what is the exact number, the exact number between 27 and 81. So halfway on either side, right? All we do is we take 27 and we add it to 81, and then we divide by the number of numbers, and there's 2 numbers. Okay? So 27 plus 81 gives me 108. Divide that by 2, and I get half of 100 is 50, and half of 8 is 4, so I would get 54. 54 would be halfway between 27 and 81. And that saves you the time of having to like draw out a number line and count in between, right? Or anything like that. So it's a helpful way to find the numbers. Now, the other thing that we're going to talk about in this lesson are line graphs. And it's a way of managing data and plotting it out on a line graph so that we can see how progress is going to go, whether it's going to go up or down or whatever. Example number 4 on page 85 says this line graph shows Margie's height in inches from her 8th birthday to her 14th birthday. Which year did she grow the most? Which year did she grow the most? So taking a look at this guy, move my mouse out of the way. I'm going to switch this guy over. All right, so taking a look down here, right? We see this lovely chart that she has here, and each one represents a year. So what we're gonna do, I need my pointer again. Kablam. So this is 1 year, this is 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, right? What we're looking for is where did she grow the most? Well, since the height goes up in chunks, right? We wanna see the year where she went and she skyrocketed up there. And to me, just eyeballing this, it looks here. From between her 10th birthday and her 11th birthday, she grew, what was that, 5 inches it looks like, right? Because she went from 52 to about 57, I would think, right around there. So that seems to be the highest growth, right? So let's take a look. Oh, and sure enough, at the bottom it says the year she was 10. The year she was 10. All right, bear with me while I straighten this puppy out. All right, so let's talk about some of these other guys. All right, so, sorry about that. There we go. The practice problems are on page 86. So go ahead and stop the video, see if you can't do those practice problems, and then come on back. All right, so let's double check. For A, it says there were 26 books on the first shelf, 36 books on the next shelf, and 43 books on the third shelf. Martin rearranged the books. And oh, by the way that I'm showing you these, this is how you need to be showing your work on your homework and all that good stuff, okay? So I don't want to see just an answer. I want to see you writing out the problem and showing your work. Obviously in a word problem, I don't want you to write it out word for word, but I do want you to write this guy out, okay? So Martin rearranged the books so that there were the same number of books on each shelf. After he did that, how many were on the first shelf? Well, guys, if we're going to rearrange, we have to find the average, right? We got to move some from here to here and move these guys up to here. And the way we do that is we add those all together. 6 and 6 is 12, 13, 14, 15, carry the 1, right? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 and 4 is 10, that's 105, 105. We take 105, we divide that by the number of numbers here, 1, 2, 3. 3 goes into 10 3 times without going over. 3 times 3 is 9. When we subtract, we also bring down. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So there were 35 books on each shelf, 35 books on each shelf. And so how many were on the first? 35. All right, so for B, and so your work needs to look like this for all your other problems, okay? For B, what is the average of 96, 44, 68, and 100? All right, 6 plus 4 is 10, plus 8 is 1. I'm sorry, plus is 18. This is 10, and this is 10, so that's 20. 2 and 1 is 3, so 308, and we're going to divide that by 4. 4 goes into 38 times, we get 28. Subtract, because 8 times 4, let me try that again. 8 times 7 is 28. Peter, that was just for you. Catch my mistakes. All right, when we subtract, we also bring down. And how many times does 4 go into 28? 7 times. All right, so the average of those numbers would be 77, right? 77. So Let's see about C. What number is halfway between 28 and 82? Halfway between 28 and 82. All right, well, we're gonna take 28 and we're going to add it to 82. Let's do it this way, right? We're gonna, we get 10, carry the 1, 111. Now we need 111 and divide it by the number of numbers. 1, 2 numbers, 2. 2, and I don't even need to do this bit. I'll show you how we can do that part in your head. So we're gonna show divided by 2 equals half of 100 is 50, half of 10 is 5. So we get 55, 55. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know and I'll explain a little more in class. For D, what is the number halfway between 86 and 102? 86 and 102. Again, we're gonna add those numbers up. Doesn't matter which order because we're adding, right? What's this? So it's 8, 8 and 1, okay? Divide that by 2. Again, we can do this in our head because 180, well, what's half of 18? That's 9, right? So half of 180 would be 90, plus half of 8 is 4. So 94, 94. Find the average, so for, this was D, by the way. So for E, find the average of 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 12 plus 15. All right, so 5 and 2 is 7, so this is gonna be 27. This is 9 plus another 9, right? These guys, that's 18. So we have 27 plus 18. That's kind of my scribble scrawl, but I'm showing you my work, so I'm showing you how my brain works. Oh my gosh, my nose itches. So I'm showing you how my brain works, and I want you to do the same for me. Okay, so 8 and 8 is 16, minus 1 is 15. 2, 3, and 4, I get 45, 45. But I need to find the average, right? So I'm gonna divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gives me 9, 9, okay? All right, oh wait, no, F. All right, so we go back and we look at the graph on example number 4, so the page before, right? How many inches did Margie grow from her 8th to her 12th birthday? 8th to her 12th birthday. All right, so if we take a look here, it's kind of far away there, but on her 8th birthday, she was at 48 inches. And on her 12th birthday, she was at 60 inches. All right, we want to know, so if she grew from 48 to 60 inches, all we have to do is take 60 minus 48, minus 48. Make this a 5, make this a 10, 2, 1, 12 inches. It's a good idea to answer your word problems in sentence form. So Margie grew 12 inches, 12 inches. Between her 9th and 12th birthday, I think it was, right? Let's see. And then for G, during which year did Margie grow the least? During which year did Margie grow the least? So when we did this one, we talked about how she grew the most by, steep curve, right? We want to know when she grew the least, and it's going to be slight. So where's the slightest curve that we have? I would say right here, between her 13th and 14th year, she didn't grow any, right? She just stayed the same, right? About 62, maybe, something like that. Good. So, let's look at the next one. Predicting the information in the graph, does it seem like likely that Margie will grow to be 68 inches tall? 68 inches tall. Well, probably not, because 14, you're almost at your full height at 14. I don't know about you guys. I was 5'11" at 13. That was crazy. So she's probably not going to grow another like 4 or 5 inches by the time she's full grown, right? She's probably going to be pretty full grown. So I would say it's unlikely, but you never know. Maybe she has a growth spurt, something like that. Anyway, those are the problems for a lesson set 18. So go ahead and do the assignment, and I will see you guys in class. Excellent work.